He had nothing. No home, no money, no one who even looked at him twice. But when a little girl's life was in danger, he was the only one who moved. What happened next didn't just save a child's life, it changed everything for everyone involved. Welcome back to Mint Story English. Today's story will stay with you long after it ends. It is called The Homeless Man Who Saved a CEO's Daughter. This story is simple. The words are easy, but the ending might surprise you completely. So relax, sit back, and listen carefully. Let's begin. In a busy city, on a cold winter evening, a man named Daniel sat quietly on the corner of a crowded street. His clothes were old and torn, his shoes had holes in them, his beard was long and unkempt. People walked past him every single day, some glancing at him briefly with pity, others simply looking away, pretending he didn't exist at all. Daniel had once had a very different life. Years earlier, he had worked as an engineer at a respected company, had a loving wife and a comfortable home. But after a serious car accident took his wife's life, and after months of grief, lost work, and mounting debts, Daniel slowly lost everything: his job, his home, and eventually his sense of belonging in the world. For nearly 3 years now, the street corner near the city's largest office building had become his home. Every morning, hundreds of well-dressed office workers walked past him, rushing to their important meetings, holding their coffee cups, staring at their phones. Daniel rarely asked for money. He simply sat quietly, watching the world move quickly around him. Among those busy office workers was a powerful, wealthy businessman named Richard Hale, the CEO of one of the city's largest corporations. Richard walked past Daniel almost every single morning, always in a hurry, always distracted by important calls and pressing business matters. He barely noticed the homeless man sitting quietly on the corner, just as most people didn't. Richard had a daughter named Emily, only 7 years old, whom he loved more than anything else in the world. Because of his demanding work schedule, Richard rarely had time to walk Emily to school himself. Most mornings, it was Emily's nanny who brought her past that same street corner on their short walk to her elementary school just 2 blocks away. One particularly icy winter morning, something went terribly wrong. As Emily and her nanny crossed the busy intersection near Daniel's corner, the nanny's phone rang urgently. Distracted for just a brief moment, she stepped slightly behind to answer the call, allowing Emily to walk just a few steps ahead toward the crosswalk. At that exact moment, a delivery truck, sliding dangerously on the icy road, lost control and began sliding directly toward the crosswalk, directly toward little Emily, who stood frozen in fear, unable to move. Time seemed to slow down. Pedestrians screamed. The nanny dropped her phone in horror, too far away to reach Emily in time. But Daniel, sitting on his usual corner just a few feet away, reacted instantly. Without hesitation, without a single thought for his own safety, he sprinted forward and threw himself toward Emily, pushing her safely out of the truck's path just as it skidded past, missing them both by mere inches. The street fell into stunned, terrified silence for a moment before erupting into chaos. People rushed over. Emily's nanny screamed her name, gathering the crying but unharmed little girl into her arms. And there, lying on the icy ground nearby, was Daniel, badly injured, having twisted his leg severely during his desperate leap to save her. An ambulance arrived quickly, rushing both Daniel and Emily to the nearest hospital, though Emily herself was thankfully unharmed, only shaken by the frightening experience. When Richard received the emergency call at his office, his heart nearly stopped with fear. He rushed immediately to the hospital, arriving breathless and panicked, only to find his daughter safe, sitting quietly in a hospital room, wrapped in a warm blanket. "Papa," Emily said as soon as she saw him, tears still in her eyes. "The man saved me. He pushed me out of the way. He got hurt because of me." Richard's expression shifted from relief to confusion, then to deep curiosity. "What man?" he asked gently. The nanny, still shaken, explained everything, how a homeless man from the street corner had risked his own life without a single moment of hesitation, saving Emily just seconds before disaster struck. Richard immediately asked the hospital staff about the man's condition. He was informed that the man, Daniel, was currently in a nearby room, being treated for a serious leg injury, with medical staff quietly discussing the fact that since he had no insurance and no fixed address, his treatment options might soon become limited. Richard walked slowly into Daniel's hospital room. He found a thin, exhausted-looking man lying quietly on the hospital bed, his leg elevated and heavily bandaged. "You saved my daughter's life," Richard said softly, his voice thick with emotion. Daniel looked up, slightly surprised, and simply said, "I just did what anyone would have done." But Richard shook his head slowly. "No," he said. "Many people walked past that street every single day, including me. Most of us barely even looked at you. Yet you were the only one who risked everything for a little girl you didn't even know." For the first time, Richard truly looked at Daniel, not as a homeless stranger to walk past, but as a human being with dignity, courage, and a story he knew nothing about. Over the following days, as Daniel recovered in the hospital under Richard's insistence and full financial support, Richard began visiting him regularly. He learned about Daniel's tragic accident, his lost career, his lost wife, and the slow, painful spiral that had led him to that street corner. He also discovered something remarkable. Daniel had once been a highly skilled structural engineer with years of valuable experience before life's hardships had taken everything from him. When Daniel was finally well enough to leave the hospital, Richard made him a quiet, sincere offer. "I would like to help you rebuild your life," he said. "Not out of pity, but because you deserve a genuine second chance. I have an opening in my company's engineering department. The job is real. The opportunity is real. What you do with it is entirely up to you." Daniel, overwhelmed with emotion, accepted gratefully. Slowly, with patience, dedication, and hard work, Daniel rebuilt his life. He moved into a small apartment. He returned to his engineering career, quickly proving his skill and value to his new colleagues. Within just 2 years, he had worked his way up to a respected senior position within the company. Little Emily, now older, remained close to Daniel over the years, often referring to him affectionately as Uncle Daniel, never once forgetting that he was the man who had once saved her life without a second thought, expecting absolutely nothing in return. Years later, during a company event, Richard stood before his employees and told Daniel's story publicly for the first time. He ended his speech with words that deeply moved everyone in the room. "I walked past this man nearly every single day for years," Richard said, "and I never once truly saw him. It took an accident, a moment of pure selflessness, for me to finally understand that a person's circumstances never define their character. Sometimes, the person we overlook the most is capable of the greatest courage any of us will ever witness." Moral of the story: true character has nothing to do with wealth, appearance, or social status. Sometimes, the people we overlook the most are capable of the deepest kindness and courage, and a single selfless act can change not just one life, but many. I hope today's story reminded you never to judge someone by their outward circumstances. If it did, please like this video and subscribe to Mint Story English. New stories come every week, so don't miss the next one. Until then, take a moment to truly see the people around you. See you in the next story.